Yo, welcome back to the checkup where we talk hoops and hoops only. And we had a little news come out of the Minnesota Timberwolves today, and that has to do with their star player Karl Anthony Towns. And this man got caught lacking. And he tried to lie about it too. Well, you're not fooling nobody, my guy. So, the Minnesota Timberwolves' most recent game, they played the LA Clippers, and they lost. They started off the season fine. They're looking a little bad right now. I still think they're a decent team, right now at least. But Karl Anthony Towns got caught liking a tweet that said "Free Cat," and talking about his time in Minnesota. Is he leaving or not? Basically, that's what it had to do with. Towns did say that he changed his password and he got hacked and he didn't know how it happened. I'm not falling for it, but take it for what you want. But if you really look at Karl Anthony Towns' time in Minnesota so far, it's been pretty rough. From his rookie season in 2015-16 up until now, he's only seen the playoffs one time. And the bad part was, if you guys remember the NBA world around that 2014, around that 2015-16 time, Minnesota was like the up-and-coming team. Like, you know how we talk about the Denver Nuggets now? We were talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves in that same type of light. Like, they were supposed to be a really good team by now. They drafted Wiggins number 1 at 2014. Then they had Towns at 2015. They had Levine. And it was like, this team looks like a really good young team that could be like championship contenders one day. But it fell apart. Levine got traded for Jimmy Butler, which seemed like a blockbuster at the time, and it was. But when you look at it, Chicago won the deal because there was major drama in the locker room with Butler and the young guys. And this led to Butler getting traded to Philadelphia literally like after a year and a half. But what this has to do with Karl Anthony Towns is he was all a part of this. He was here when this is happening. And, a lot of things have happened while he's been there for like only, I think this is really like his 5th, 6th year if I'm not mistaken. But he's been through a lot with Minnesota already, and a lot of negative, not a lot of positive. They did make the playoffs, like I said, in 2018, and Butler was there. And he's also had to deal with a lot of coaching changes, with Tom Thibodeau being his best coach in his early career so far, the most successful. He was the one that took him to the playoffs. And now we're here in 2021, and Minnesota is still in the rebuild process. Even though they look better to start this season, it still must suck to basically be back at square one, where he was with Levine and Wiggins. But this time it's just with Anthony Edwards, who was the 2020 first pick. And then we got D'Angelo Russell, who's one of his best friends, but he's still young. He was drafted in the same draft class as him. But it's basically almost back to square one. Minnesota's been bad for a little while now, and there have been questions if Towns can lead this team, being that he's a former number 1 pick. But in my opinion, I think he's a great second option on like a title team, and that's not discrediting him. His skills are special. He's an absolute sharpshooter. He can score in the low post as well, and he's got career averages of 23 points per game with 12 rebounds. So he's not a bad player at all. But, this is really kind of similar to when Kevin Garnett was on the Timberwolves. Like, there wasn't a lot of success. He wanted to stay loyal, but eventually things had to get done, and he got traded. And I think Towns is almost to that point because, Minnesota has pressure now to keep him for a long haul and not lose him like they lost KG back in like 07, 08. But because right now they're failing him, and there's lots of trade destinations for his type of player. Like, I think Golden State would be a fit. They got nice little young pieces they can give up. The New York Knicks, potentially, they got nice little young pieces. Other teams that got trade bait to give Minnesota, and they could definitely use a player of his caliber. But as of right now, even though the Wolves look decent, or, they look solid to start the season, and they have struggled a little bit as of recent, maybe a playoff appearance with Edwards and himself leading the way can convince him that he doesn't need a change of scenery. But as of right now, Karl Anthony Towns, we're not believing you, my guy. And there was even a quote that I read that he said, because they're on a 3-game losing streak. He said that these 3-game losing streaks in Minnesota can turn to 18, 19, 20, and he ain't lying. He's been a part of those, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't want to be a part of that again. because Minnesota has been struggling to win games ever since 2018. They haven't done anything, and they've gotten, worse, to be real. I mean, they did show slight improvement at the end of last season, and they did show, decent play to start this season, but it's not like this team is expected to make the playoffs. And considering the talent that they've drafted in the past 5, 6 years, 7 years, it's kind of sad that they haven't been to the playoffs that much, because this fan base has been dying for a team that is competitive, and they just haven't been that. Anyways, that's going to do it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Link will be down in the description. This has been a checkup where we talk hoops and hoops only. And I'll see y'all in the next video next week. Peace.